Hello, it's me here once again, and I'm back with number 3 in the Uriah Heep discography. And today we're looking at Look at Yourself. Yes, one of the, I believe, original vinyls doesn't have a date saying if it is actually on it, so I assume it is one of the original vinyls. It was recorded in July 71. Now they're coming off of Salisbury, which had a hit for them in Lady in Black, and following it up, they did their first ever American tour, and in September 71 they released this album. Their first album on Bronze Records after leaving Vertigo, and produced by Jerry Braun. Now on this album you have David Byron on vocals, Ken Hensley on organ, backing and lead vocals. He's also the person singing on Look at Yourself. He's also on piano, he's on guitar. He's sort of the man of all trades on this entire album. Mick Box on lead and acoustic guitar. Paul Newton, his final album, on bass. And I think this was really actually a great album because he sounded fantastic on this record. And the lineup of ever-revolving drummers followed them into this album. This would be the last album of the Revolving Drummers. After this album, they get Cures Lake, and he stays and leaves for a bit, but comes back and does quite a stint with Uriah Heep. Now, let's get on with the album. Look at Yourself, the opening track, the only track sung by Ken Hensley that wasn't David Byron. And this sort of followed the last album with High Priestess, was started off by Hensley and had some of him singing. It's a very fast-paced opening track. It's like they're trying to capture what they were doing on stage, that fast-paced energy that become known for. This is a song where it feels like, yes, it's that very live Uriah Heep sound. It almost had a very fast-paced intro with the organs and that, and it also had a shuffle feel to it. Also, what I could say about it, the rhythm section in this song is very tight, and throughout the entire organ, and actually you can go back to the other albums. This band is a very tight-knit, very tight-sounding band. Uh, I love the lyrics to this song. I really do. I think David Byron or Ken Hensley's voice with it went very well. The great thing I love, though, about somewhat of Ken Hensley singing some of this fast pace is it is a little bit difficult to differentiate. Is it Byron or is it Hensley? Because they're so similar vocally. It works. Love the chord changes. They fit. It has a very catchy chorus with "Look at yourself. Don't be excited. Look at yourself." It's kind of one of those great Uriah Heep catchy choruses. Mick Box feels unshackled, not only on this song, but on the entire album. I keep going back to that. It's like Mick found his energy soloing on some of this stuff, and it just sounds great. Uh, has a nice bass section to it. Like listening to it through the years, you can hear the bass very well, which is a thing I've said. A nice drum fill ending. It builds and then it stops. And that's one thing I like, is when the song just stops. And yeah, and that's that song. It clocked in at 5 minutes 8 seconds. Song number 2 on the album is I Wanna Be Free, one of my favorite Uriah Heep songs. It opens with this very heavy hard rock, heavy metal opening. And it has that sound. You can tell as soon as it's Uriah Heep. And it then goes into just a subtle keyboard, tambourine. You had Henley and Byron on vocals with a very good harmony behind it that really worked well. I always found whenever you had stuff where it was Hensley and Byron singing together, or even you had the rest of the band in with it, it'd sound good. Then you get this nice bass line going through it. Excuse me, which I've always loved about Uriah Heep is their bass work. They always had good bass players on some of these, and then it goes in after the chorus into that Uriah Heep riff that I've talked about on the last couple albums. It's a good foot tapping song, a good subtle mix of boxes a watt times, and then you get good solos from them. or a good solo from him. Feels like almost a mix of progressive rock and heavy metal added into one song, and it kind of works in this way. I've always loved this, and I love the ending of the sort of feels like it's a dueling, I want to be free, yeah, yeah, between Hensley and Box, and I always felt like that worked in this entire song. Now we're on to song number 3, and that song clocked in 4 minutes. Song number 3, The Epic from the album, and a song still like Look at Yourself off of this. I've seen them live recently. Another song they play live, July Morning. This is this is the epic that Uriah Heep became known for. As I said in my last video, they had Salisbury. This one was July Morning. Just a fantastic, beautiful song. It starts off with a nice organ synthesizer stuff going on at the beginning, and it just sounds beautiful. You have this building of this, and then it builds right into a great Mick Box guitar solo to start the song. And I love also the subtle keyboard and or organ and bass work during it as well. Then it goes into some great David Byron vocals. This is why I love David Byron as a singer, is it just flows very well. There I was on a July morning, I was looking for love. Just a great vocal delivery. It's not hard, it's not fast, it's not this air siren singer, it's just soul. And it sounds really, really, really good. I love also the fact of the acoustic guitar during the verse and the chorus. You can hear it, it's just a very melodic, plodding. And then whenever it goes after that into the verse, it sort of goes into this great bass. Paul Newton was like a beast, especially on this song. You could hear it, even the boom, 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 boom. It added something to the song that I think really worked well. Also had an epic keyboard solo. It's just a very catchy song. Also, you could hear like the duelingness of it worked very well. The exchange between guitar, organ, the band. You could tell this band was on at this moment and that this was a song that they really loved. Really just went for it, and I love it. It starts off after you kind of get this, go back to the chorus, and it's like this long, drawn out, just dan 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 and it just sounds so swirling. Such a great song, and it works so damn well. Like, I just love this song. It clocked in at 10 minutes 24 seconds. Now on to the next song, Tears in My Eyes. A very hard opening to this song as well, with a great slide guitar, and it's just very singable lyrics to the song. Once you get into it, there's a story of a woman abusing a man, and I'm not even sure if I can, but with tears in my eyes, I keep on pretending she's mine. It's just a great song, and it's something about Uriah Heep's lyrics is that all of them, they feel them. You can tell they mean them. Is that it's just not random lyrics through on a page. Nice tempo changes during the song to a dream-like feel during the song, and I love the building of the drums and the acoustic guitar in this song as well during the na 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 part of the song. It worked very well. Some soft Mick Box solo followed by slide. And it almost feels like they're battling at times, which is a great sound. I love that sound. It almost reminds me a lot of that Weed sound that, as I said in another review I did, is that Ken Hensley, you can tell that if you look at Weed, it's kind of a mixture of Salisbury and Look at Yourself, and this is where it really comes from. False endings. I love Uriah Heep's false endings, followed by another slide guitar solo and another tempo change back to the opening riff, and then to the verse and the chorus, and then it just finishes the song off. It's just a great song. Clocked in at 4 minutes 57 seconds. Other than really, you can say July Morning, there hasn't really been a long song on the album. Now on to another great song off this album, Shadow of Grief. Another, I'd almost say epic in a way. It had a feel to it. It had a nice drum opening. It was building, 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 followed by great keyboard riff. Dun, 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 dun. And then the band enters. Mick Box's fills on this sounded beautiful. And yeah, and then the dreamy section that builds into nice vocals by David Byron. That's one thing I've always loved about Byron is the vocals on this song. But as I said, a dream section that builds into Mick Box's wah-like solo. It's good. Nice stops and starts. Tempo changes to almost set the controls for the Heart of the Sun kind of feel. That's something I've got from this, that it's almost had that do 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 do, and then just this very it almost made it for a haunting feel also with the feel to it. It sounded great to really listen to. Some great bass sections in the song, great organ solos. Then it goes back into that main riff, that dun, 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 and then back to the vocals. A nice freak out section at the end, feels ominous, ends with the ahs, and like I said, it goes to the end. That song clocked in at 8 minutes and 36 seconds. What Should Be Done is the next song on this, and this is one of my favorite Uriah Heep songs ever. I love this. It's very straightforward, very simple. It's the soul song of the album. It's beautiful and listening to. Nice piano, followed by David Byron. So you think you found a way of living that prevents you losing any sleep. It's just something about it. It just works very well. Love the lyrics. And nice Mick Box wah solo or playing during this entire song that you can hear the wah. It's just fantastic to listen to. Now on to the final song of this album, Love Machine. Now I know if you got remastered issues, you got probably more songs on it, but I'm just going off the original album, so Love Machine's the end for me. A nice organ opening. It's a fast-paced guitar, almost a shuffle feel to it. Sounds almost like a blues rocky kind of sound. And then you have a great David Byron vocal delivery on this. At times, it's hard to tell if there is slide with Ken on this or if it's just him and Mick Box going at it. And there is sort of keyboards in it, so it's a lot going on at the same time. So even with headphones, it's kind of hard at times to pick stuff out from what's going on. It has a very ominous ending to the song. I love it. It's very short, it's sweet, it's to the point. It almost feels like it was written more as a single, but I love it anyway. This album to me is the first, I wouldn't say, it's on that lines. Is it better than Salisbury? Yes, it is a fantastic. Some would actually say flat out that this record is better than Salisbury. And I would have to agree with them on that one, that this might be the finest work Uriah Heep ever did on record as far as the progressive side. We got the next album coming up, which everyone knows. Another thing I love just so much about this album is also on the back of this vinyl. It also gives brief descriptions of the songs by the band. And it just, I love this album so much. It's now looking at it, what was the reception of it? I got a little bit into it on the last one, but I'll kind of go through this and give you some charts. In the UK, it reached number 39, and you got to remember this is back when the charts actually meant something, and to actually be in the top 100 meant something. 15 in Australia, 11 in Germany, 14 in Norway, 93 in the US. That was huge, as Uriah Heep got a little bit of a foothold in the US market. They needed it. #1 in Finland, and #3 in Italy. So you can kind of tell, like, their first album, Heavy Humble, it charted in Canada, where I am, but after that, like, it was really hard to find a hit Uriah Heep record in Canada. But this one, it shows they got Europe. They're getting a foothold in Europe. They started in the U.S. But okay, yeah, that's that. The album cover, absolutely love it. I think it's a beautiful idea. Get people to look at themselves in sort of this distorted mirror. It's just a fantastic idea the band came up with. And anyway, and what would I give this album out of 5? This is the first Uriah Heep record. I'll give it a 5 out of 5. This is one hell of a record. If you do not own it, you do not got it. You gotta buy it. This is an absolute must. Any Heep fan has to own Look at Yourself. It's, to me, the melding of progressive and heavy metal, hard rock all into one. It just makes for a great, even that heavy psych sound, it just sounds great. It's heavy, it's hard, and it's just a fantastic record to listen to. I can't rave about it enough. But anyway, that's my review. Be sure to like, comment, favorite, subscribe down below. And as I said, I think any Heep fan, they know the next album coming is #4, going to be Demons and Wizards. Peace.